Hi guys, it's Talia from the Climbing Tree. Today I have my Rosh Chodesh Tevet video, and I have already recorded this once and a bit, but I ran out of room on the SD card that I was recording on. So I'm recording this on my iPhone, and I hope that it turns out okay and that the sound is okay. So let me know. This is kind of a bit easier too because I can see myself and I can set the camera up a bit easier. So, oh, that's the problem though. The thing that I meant to look at is on the phone. Anyway, let's see if I can remember, because first we're just going to recap on what my goals were for Kislev and how I went with them. Then I'm just going to share some things that I've learned about this new month, Tevet, and then I'm going to share my goals for this current month for Tevet. Okay. So my goals for Kislev were to sleep more, to go to sleep before 10 o'clock every night, and that went pretty well. I definitely felt a lot better for sleeping earlier, and I would say that was probably a good time for me to go to sleep too, because I was able to be tired and go to sleep. I sort of learned that pretty quickly, like to be tired at that time. If I stay up later because I want to do things or I'm engrossed in some activity that I'm doing, then often I don't sleep well. I could be up to like 1:30 or 2 o'clock. But for the most part, I had pretty good sleep this month past, so that was really good. And I will continue to go to sleep early, I think. The other thing I had put down was to write down my dreams. That's right. So this one I started doing at the beginning of the month, and then I didn't continue it. And I mostly didn't continue it because it takes quite a bit of time to write down your dreams every morning, and I didn't really have that time available to me. And then also I realized that the dreams I was writing down, while kind of funny to read back on, were really just my brain rehashing things that had happened in the day or in the week before. So they didn't have super duper, meaning for me. On the whole, I found that not such a useful thing to do, but it was still fun while it lasted. Oh, that was the other thing. I went through a little period where I didn't remember my dreams when I woke up, and I had interrupted sleep in the night, and so because of that, it was one of those things, even in the morning when I thought, oh, I could write down my dreams this morning, I just couldn't remember anything, and so that got me out of the habit of doing it as well. I think the next thing I had was doing my gratitude every day. So I did this with a friend, and we texted each other every day, and that went really well. Probably it was only in the last week that we were not so regular to do it, but that was a really good practice. And I had a few hard days in the month, and it was actually a really good practice to force myself to choose something to be grateful for, even when on the whole I wasn't feeling very grateful that day. So that was a really good practice. I don't think that I will keep texting my friend about it, keep doing that, but I want to maybe even in my journal I could in my planner I could just put that at the end of each day, choose something to be grateful for. Could be a nice little thing to do. We'll see. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm in the same position as I was just before, but it's been several hours and I'm going to attempt to finish this video now. So the fourth thing of my goals for Kislev was doing the dream in big day, time to really think about that. And I possibly didn't do this exactly how I imagined it when I set out that goal, but I still feel like I did achieve it. Because I did that womanhood yesterday, and I did spend time planning out and thinking of the future and what I wanted to achieve and stuff like this. So I did a vlog on that day, so I'll share a link for that one. But yeah, I think that's really interesting too, that you can have a goal and something you want to achieve, and it may not look exactly, when you achieve the goal, it may not look exactly how you envisioned it when you set the goal, but it doesn't make it less legitimate. So this is my map of the month of Tevet. Basically, this is a hard month. So in the Hebrew calendar, there's the 12 months. 9 of these are Yaakov months, and 3 of them are Esav months. And this is an Esav month. So it is a harder month. It feels a bit more, deals with harder issues, and has that more, I don't know, I guess it has like more elements of human nature in it. It's not like dream big and see visions and, you know, all this kind of stuff. Connect with God really easily this month. It's not necessarily like that. It's a harder month, and you've got to like work through harder things to get to the good stuff. And that harder thing that we're dealing with mostly this month is anger, and also a bit of jealousy and judgment. If you think of like anger being a big ball, jealousy being a bit smaller ball, and judgment being a even smaller ball than that, this is sort of like how the amount, say, of each of those 3 things in the month. We have had Hanukkah for the first 2 days of Tevet were the last 2 days of Hanukkah, and these last 2 days of Hanukkah we're lighting 7 and 8 candles. And what is this showing us? This is showing us about light overcoming darkness, being the light in the world. It's really showing us, this idea of overcoming our enemies, and we can like be more philosophical about this and think about overcoming the enemies within us and overcoming like our human nature to be more like God and all of this kind of stuff. So this idea of a great light and of transformation, of redemption, of the light being hidden in the darkness, and you want to reveal it. You know, it's one of those concepts that light can't exist without darkness. You know, you need the darkness to see the light. And so even though this is a month that deals with more negative things, there is really great, bright, shining light in this month to think about and focus on and try to unravel, whatever, I don't know, just to try to get to. All right, so we're trying to uproot these negative things in our life. We're trying to purify our anger. We're trying to use this anger for good and not for bad. We're trying to like work through it. This month we might have to do work on ourselves and really being thoughtful about what are the things that make us angry and why, and how can we work through those things. It's a great month to establish new routines, apparently. These are all things I've read, by the way. I'm not like making this up. These are things that I've read from places. This was a good little thing that I wrote down that I saw, was it's important to create a safe place to release your anger. So we're not sort of wanting to get rid of all anger, because anger is a valid emotion. It's a valid thing to feel. But when anger causes us to behave badly, disrespect people, or cause real discomfort maybe in our homes or for other people, then we're not using that anger appropriately. And so maybe you need to create a safer place for you to express your anger, and you certainly need to like work through it, because anger is also not something that we want to have tons of in our life. Even if it is anger that is making us, that righteous anger that's making us, propelling us to do things and to make changes, we still don't want to have tons of that anger. There are other ways that you can propel yourself to do things as well. in the Kabbalah, the root cause of illness is anger. And this has been an interesting thing to think of, because as a person who is quite sick with tons of different things, I don't think that anger is the cause of all of my illnesses and my sicknesses. But this thing goes on to say that joy and love are powerful healing forces that nourish our lives, and these are opposite things of anger. And I do really appreciate that, and I think that even in very physical sicknesses like what I have, that even then love and joy can contribute to your health. So I think that that's a really great thing to be reminded of, that, you know, the opposite of anger is love and joy, and we need to cultivate more of that as well. But yeah, basically this month we're just like purifying negative emotions. We are working through them. We want to be really mindful of ourselves and what is happening within us emotionally, and how that might relate to physical things, how that might relate to spiritual things, and just to be mindful of our anger and to work through it as we need to. The letter for this month, Tevet, is the Ain, and the body part for this month, Tevet, is the eye. And there were some really interesting things about this, which was to say that the eye can relate to seeing good in every person, and that actually true freedom lies in seeing each person's godliness. So in Bereshit, we know that Hashem made Adam and Chava in his image, and we are also made in Hashem's image. But every person is, every Jew and every Goy, these are people all who are made in Hashem's image and are all loved, you know, in the Exodus. And we read the story of the Hebrews going through the Red Sea, getting to the end, the Egyptians being drowned in the Dead Sea. The Hebrews go to celebrate the death of their enemies, and Hashem says, no, don't celebrate, you know, because this is a sad day for me. These are my children, you know, and they're dying. And I think that that's a really powerful thing to think about, that even people that do awful things, terrible things, are still Hashem's children. And so that's important to remember, and hopefully we don't deal with anybody who's really that bad in our life, but, you know, who knows? I definitely don't. But it's important for us to remember that, just people who are more difficult, and even what a powerful way to look at your children and look at your spouse and to think, wow, you are made in Hashem's image, and he loves you so much, and what a privilege it is that I am someone who can also love you and appreciate that about you. Anyway, there's tons more on here. Maybe I might take a screenshot and save this in my Instagram stories so that you can have a look if you want to. But also, you know, just those same places as last time that I had to do the research if you want to have a read for yourself about the month. My goals for Tevet are a lot shorter. I've only got 3 goals, and I felt like they're not all really, well, they're kind of daily things. I didn't have to do each of these things daily, but I kind of do. I make it hard for myself. Anyway, hopefully Tevet is an easier month, because, like, in terms of being able to achieve these goals and not peter out, because I think part of the reason why a lot of my goals in Kislev ran out in that last month is because Hanukkah started, or it was like those few days before Hanukkah, and so it was just crazy. You know, I was focused on these other things and less on the goals. But there's nothing really this month. We've already finished Hanukkah now at the start of the month. So my goals, gotta keep me on track, guys. My first goal is to establish a healthy eating routine. So I'm thinking for me that will mean just trying to eat a ton more fruit and vegetables, like really prioritizing that as my main food over anything else, and possibly keeping a bit of a track to make sure that I have like 5 servings of vegetables a day. I'm not worried so much about fruit because I will eat the fruit, that's fine. It's more the vegetables I want to be concerned about. And I also want to try making myself a lunchbox every day when I make the kids a lunchbox, so that I have food ready for me. So part of my problem that I've realized as I've analyzed this is that I never eat breakfast because I don't have time. And then I get really, really hungry. And so then at like 11 o'clock or 10:30 or something, when I've sort of finished all of my morning things and I've come into a pause, I eat stuff, and I'm so hungry that I eat bad things, things I can snack on. Maybe not terrible things, but often chips, if I'm honest, I'm not munching on carrot sticks, and I really should be. So I need to just have those things ready, even if I didn't eat breakfast, which I know I should. Then at least if I had a carrot peeled in my lunchbox, I could just eat that, or I could eat a piece of fruit, or I could start eating my salad early, or something like this. By the way, I realized that to say that I should be eating breakfast, not everyone agrees with that, because intermittent fasting is a thing and whatever. For my body and my health needs, I really need to eat very frequently, 5 times a day, small things 5 times a day, which I do not do. I'm like a 2 meal a day kind of person. I'm not hungry at the beginning of the day, and I hate eating breakfast. And also it's hard to think of things to eat when you can't eat eggs, when you can't eat gluten, when you can't eat dairy. We're running low on stuff. If you have suggestions of breakfast foods that don't include any of those 3 things, that would be awesome. Please leave them below. Also, I don't really want to have meat, because then I won't be able to, really the only dairy I eat is butter, but still, I just don't want to eat the meat at the beginning for breakfast and then be totally screwed if I did somehow want to have dairy at some point. Maybe I want to have yogurt or something like this. I can have a little bit of yogurt. Anyway, so that's number 1, establish a healthy eating routine. Number 2 is to meditate daily. So my problem with this one, the reason that I have this as a goal and I haven't been able to achieve it so well, is I have a alarm on my phone that goes off, and I've tried it at a bunch of different times of day that reminds me to meditate, and it goes off annoyingly, and I just press stop, and I never be bothered with it. So obviously that doesn't work, and I really need to think of what I'm going to do to make sure I do that every day. Most of this month of Tevet is school holidays. When I'm making this, it is Wednesday. School holidays starts on the weekend. Friday's the last day of school. And is it Wednesday? Yes, it is Wednesday. Anyway, and then it's summer holidays for all of Tevet and into Shabbat. It is awesome. So I will have a bit more time in the morning, because I won't have to get up to do school stuff, and all of our programs and things that we go to are on break over summer holidays. So we don't have to worry so much about that, and I hopefully will be able to incorporate my meditation into my day first thing. Also, really I need to prioritize doing my daily prayers more. Maybe that should be a goal. Let's make that another goal. And a lot of that is meditative. So maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll work that out. If I come back at the end of the month and I say I didn't meditate so much, but I did do daily prayers every day, and that was meditative, because the Amidah, in one of the Jewish meditation books I've been reading, talks about how this was written as a meditation for everyone to do every day. And anyway, I'm getting sidetracked, but the last goal that I have is to create a summer morning routine. And I will acknowledge that this will change, that it will only be like a 6-week routine, because then it will be back to school and we'll be back to doing all of that kind of stuff. But I just want to create some sort of routine for the holidays and to get with that and just make the most of my mornings and start the day off right. If I can get that meditation in, if I can get those daily prayers in, and if I can make these lunch boxes for myself every day, as well as for the kids, so that they're not asking for food constantly all holidays, that would be amazing. Yeah, I'm going to leave it there because this video is super long. So if you like long videos, this is for you. And if you don't like long videos, you're probably not watching at this point anyway. So sorry about that. Let me know what you think about Tevet, what your goals are, and if you had goals for Kislev, how they went. And I will hopefully, God willing, do another one of these at the start of next month and, you know, recap on the goals I've just done. So thanks for watching. See ya.